We're at week 2. I've got this gentleman here. This lovely head of hair needs cutting. Super important when you start. Number 1, you have to have the right gear. So we've got our nice little hairdresser's superhero cape for my customer. And that's good because we don't want to get hair all over. And then as you professional hair salonists know, you have to have the right gear to have as well. So, you know, the onesie, Liverpool, the Air Force Ones and the Liverpool hat, that's what you need. So step 1, make sure he's ready to go. Do you want to get closer, Kath, and show him what we're dealing with first and what we have to take care of? He's got little bits of hair here. He needs to take some of that off. We're going to make him look beautiful. That's step number 1. The tools of your trade are very important. Normally for me, it's soccer balls, bibs, cones, goals, and all those things. Today is the razor, because you don't like to have those long, dodgy hairs on the back of your neck that we see sometimes when people cut their own hair. You got the scissors that need to be sharp. Obviously, those things are combs. Some people need to use them. Nowadays, obviously, we need to use all of the different size for the shavers, or the whatever you call that bad boy. There's the one that's going to do the most damage. Water bottle, because you all know if the hair's wet, it's easier to cut and doesn't make as much of a mess. So step number 2, we get creative. We got a nice ribbon. Mr. Hoffman here, some people might know him as the Director of Coaching of Cal South and Player Education. Right now, he's also the head coach of the Lady Pirates. So we take a little bit of Lady Pirates ribbon, and that way I can have a straight line all the way around. So when I get into the next phase, I can make sure that I have a line that I'm going off. He doesn't really appreciate this, but this, yes you do. This line is important because if you cross this line, there might not be any turning back. And the next step in that, to fix it, he might not like it. Doesn't know he's agreed to, but we might have to shave his head. We're just gonna shave. I'm starting with a number 4. We're just, whoa. That's all right, keep hold of your equipment. You wanna make sure that you start at a higher number and you're trying to stick to this line, which will help you all the way around. So we're gonna start big. We're gonna go with a 4, and then we're gonna slowly go higher up or down into a 3, a 2, and a 1. Now, I want you all to understand this. When you're talking about a fade, the higher the fade and the lower the trim on the hair, the younger you are or the cooler you are. So I have to find a balance for Steve here to be cool for his Ventura College players, but then also he's a businessman. You know, he has a Cal South staff meeting, so he needs to look good for both worlds. We've gone through, I went from a 4 to a 3 to a 2. A 1 would be a little bit too short for him. As you can see by the look on his face, he's so excited to be in the Hoffmans salon. We're gonna unveil the bow. And now, as you can see, he's got a little line that you can see across. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a tad bit dodgy, but you don't want your client to know that. And then the next is, we can always fix that. So the next step now is one of my favorite steps. It's gonna be using the scissors. So when I go to get my hair cut, one thing that bugs me is there's always hair on my forehead or in my face. So when you do it, you wanna have a nice little towel. Our family's been sponsored by Nike, so I've got this ready for Steve to just brush that hair out of his eyes. And then we're gonna move on to the fun part, right? Right now, we're spraying the plants to let them grow a bit. Except kind of the opposite, but we're gonna wet the hair. And the reason why we wet the hair is because then it doesn't get all over your nice Liverpool onesie. And 2, it doesn't get all in his eyes and in his face. So it's important that you take care of your client and make sure that this is as comfortable as it can be for him. And as you can see by the look on his face, Mr. Hoffman, are you very happy right now?
Not really, no.
Don't always listen to your clients. We refuse the right for service from anybody. Easy one is fingers length. You've got scissors, you've got scissors. These scissors are gonna make us pull up a length, And then we're just gonna trim this piece like that. And now that's the same length. Then I'm gonna start with the next piece. I'm gonna trim. Don't cut your fingers. We don't want blood on the client. And we're gonna go through the whole piece. Might get a little bit of the front here and trim that piece there, as you see. Gotta have a flick of the wrist when you get rid of the hair. And now we're just gonna slowly go all over and get pieces of his hair. Some people might use scissors. When you're a pro like me, a comb. When you're a pro like me, you don't need a comb. You just use your fingers like this. This guy's gonna look 10 years younger when I'm done. We finally got the evened out with the finger's length. For those of you like me, this is your first time cutting hair. I went through each little area. I went around in a circle from the front to the back, and now I'm wetting it again, just to kind of see where this lovely silver fox's hair flows to. Steve, did you mention something about how many people have cut your hair in your lifetime?
2. Me and your mum.
There you go. Well, now it's 3, my friend. So, as you can see, I've done a decent job so far, right?
I wouldn't know.
There you go. Now, when you go to the salon or the barber shop, they always say, how do you like it at the back? We're looking at Steve's hair here, and we want to just go with his natural hairline. So we're going to go a bit squarer. And then this is the point where you help people like Mr. Hoffman out here who tries to shave his head himself. And you get some of these hairs down here that look like they've been growing for about 5 years. You get that off, so when he's wearing his shirt, it doesn't look like he's wearing an undershirt. So we're going to trim that little piece up. A couple of hairs here are as old as one of his granddaughters. You get that trimmed. And then because his is, everybody's hairstyle is different, guys, just like everyone's stylish. So we're going to try and square it out a tiny bit. And we're just going to make it into, hey, enough. We're going to make it into, hey, at your salon, you might not have a dog like that, but I do. So we're gonna make it look super clean. And we're just gonna go with a kind of almost I would say a rounded square. You always wanna have a step, look back and say, okay, that doesn't look good. So then I have to fix it a tad bit here. Same thing, all the way down. Next bit, no one likes to go near the ears, right? Because obviously some people are dirty around this time. Not dirty, but it's just not hygienic. Steve here, Director of Coaching at Cal South, he took a shower, isn't that right, Steve? Yep. Good answer. So I can touch his ears and not worry about ear funk on my fingers. So I'm gonna go around that as well, because just like a lot of you guys know, when you go to get your hair cut, the first pieces that grow back the longest is right here and by your ears. You could have everything grow good, so this is important you focus on it. Number 2, you don't want to cut the ears with the shaver, but every once in a while, a little blood adds to a little bit of excitement. Maybe not for you, but maybe for the client. And in this case, in the Hoffman salon, he has nowhere else to go. If you can notice, he's got a bit of a line in his hair. So what we can do is we take our handy dandy comb, we do a little bit here, we tilt it at an angle, and we go along the comb. And as you can see, that line is slowly disappearing. Don't worry, normally my tools of the trade are soccer ball cones, bibs and all that stuff. You gotta, just like a soccer coach, on the fly, you gotta change things up. Last tip is for you to be able to save money and get less haircuts is, can you use a razor on the neck, which now gets rid of those little hairs, and you'll get an extra week with this haircut. So not only am I helping you cut hair, I'm helping you save money. And the reality is, if you look good, you feel good. Isn't that right, Mr. Hoffman?
Yeah.
tip. When you're driving, you get your hair cut, you put one of these in the glove box, you roll in case you can't get home right away, and now it takes all the hair off. Throw it out, boom, because sometimes when you get your hair cut, they just do a little brush and a little tap on the cheeks, and you know, there you go. So if you roll this on, it helps. And then the final piece to the puzzle, I like me some tea tree. It smells good, feels good. We get a little bit of product on our hands here. We're gonna rub it together, and you know, my client for today, Mr. Hoffman, has been such a good sport. But hey, when you're getting a quality product like this, I mean, it's hard not to be excited and happy with what you're getting. So, Kath, if you didn't know, Kathy was actually a hairdresser or hair cutter for 15 years.
15, a bit more than that.
All right, Kath, don't interrupt, I'm on camera.
Okay.
So, Kath, being as though you're a qualified professional, in England at least, give me a grade on the haircut scale.
Definitely 10 out of 10, Joe. Fantastic.
So, boys and girls, remember something. It's nice to be important, it's important to be nice. But also, can we do something good at home? Can we be creative? And can we make happy people like this gentleman here? He's become, you know, he's probably about 65-ish, but really he looks about 40 right now, and he's doing good. Next tip, this is important. If you're a professional hairstylist, don't cut people's hair and have dodgy hair. Put on a hat, because that might scare the people that come to you thinking, how do you do that to your hair? I don't want you touching my hair. So wear the hat, cover the crazy hair. Client's happy. Are you happy, Mr. Hoffman?
Yeah, very happy.
Good boy. And this is how you do hair cutting at home with the Hoffmans.